Well, I thank the gentlelady for yielding and organizing our little get-together tonight, and I have to tell you it's been a wonderful opportunity to serve as a freshman member of Congress, not only with our good Republican members who are here taking some time on the House floor tonight, but even with some of the Democrat counterparts who have been trying to work on a bipartisan basis. I think a lot of us, to be honest, are frustrated with the leadership around here that doesn't necessarily give us the opportunity to offer amendments, to offer change that Washington, in particular, I think really does need. The American people, more than anything, really need right now. You mentioned small business earlier. I have to tell you, one of my observations here after being a freshman member, not only being away from family, spending time away from family, but it's the frustration of trillions of dollars of new spending, driving up the federal budget deficit at an alarming rate and the federal debt at an alarming rate. But it's really a lack of focus on small business. And think of it, 7 to 8 of every 10 new jobs comes from small business. That is really the engine of economic growth in this country. And rightfully so, the new administration and this Congress wanted to focus on a stimulus package to help the economy. Unfortunately, I think we really missed an opportunity to help small businesses. And I held some small business roundtables in my district, and boy, some of the stories I heard from those folks were a little bit alarming. One gentleman in particular said he basically felt that high taxes were the hindrance. High taxes were the hindrance to his continued economic growth. And he's been forced indefinitely now to delay a multi-million-dollar project. Another gentleman that came to that small business roundtable, he told me specifically that small businesses should be able to save more of their money for a rainy day. And they're all going through a rainy day right now, like a lot of the American public is going through, unfortunately. But the tax code penalizes them for doing that. And so we're not helping small business. And there's one other gentleman who owns a company. He basically was frustrated that the credit markets are hurting his ability to get additional capital. If he could just get a couple more $100,000 of credit from a community bank, from a bank of some sort, he could hire some more people. And he's been hiring brand new employees that have never been employed in the workforce before. So he's got some good success stories to tell. We want to keep that going, however. So as a member of the Financial Services Committee, I've been frustrated because it seems all of our discussion here in Washington is about too big to fail. How are we going to help all these big companies? But how are we going to help small business? That's where we really, I think, have to focus our time and attention, because if we're going to pull ourselves out of this economic recession, we have to help the small business owner down the road, because that's the person who's put in all the risk, all their individual capital, the entrepreneurship, that spirit of America that founded this country. That's where I think we really need to have our effort going forward. And you think of the problems we've seen lately with the government now buying the large auto companies and having a stake, 60% ownership, and the taxpayers who are watching us tonight now own General Motors. That's very troubling. Very troubling. And in particular, I've met, and I think all of you, Congressman Lummis and others have met with small business people who come and they seek our help as they walk the halls of Congress saying, here's what you could do to help us get some business tax relief. This week, I met with small business people who were frustrated. They received a letter of notice in the mail saying they had to close their operation because that was the will of the auto task force from the administration. And I think these auto dealers who have put in so much time and effort, many of these times these are family businesses, and unfortunately they've invested their time, their capital, they own the land, they own the company, they're selling cars, they employ people, and they're forced to lay off folks. And so I'm frustrated. I'd like to see us, the government, not picking the winners and losers here. So I'm just really encouraged. We've got a good class of freshmen that want to help small business. I know Congressman Schock has an initiative to go forward that will temporarily provide some payroll tax relief for the employers and the employees, which I think is so critical from a real economic stimulus plan. And I'm working on an economic plan for small business right now to separate business income from personal income, because as we all know, many of these small businesses unfortunately pay their taxes at that individual rate. And when they're paying at that individual rate, it's a higher rate, especially under the new tax plan that was passed by Congress. And so now they're going to be paying higher taxes. They can't hire somebody. They can't buy more equipment. And so if we can separate those streams of income, I think we have tremendous opportunity to help small business. And so I want to keep working with you on that effort.
Will the gentleman yield?
I'd be happy to yield.
You know,